Welcome back to the Culinary Barn, everybody. I have another very simple spring-inspired recipe. This is an even easier version of this soup that I tend to make this time of year and into the summer, but it is a easy peasy, no pun intended, pea soup. And this can be served warm or chilled, which makes it even better. This is a slightly simplified version of my classic pea and herb soup. I just mean that I have taken out some of the fresh herbs and the cream and a little bit of butter just to make it easier, less ingredients, and just faster to make. So all this recipe requires is some olive oil, a shallot, which is my preference, but any good cooking onion you have, some fresh or frozen peas, because we're still just on the cusp of peas coming sort of in late May. I've just gone with some petit pois, or like little sweet peas, frozen, and I've just let them thaw a little bit. So by all means, frozen vegetables are really good in a pinch if you don't have access to the fresh. And aside from salt and pepper, which are also included, I've got some good quality bone broth. This we make from scratch here in the Culinary Barn, and you can see it is very gelatinous. But of course, if you don't have your own bone broth, or if you don't make your own bone broth, or you don't buy it from the store, you can just use a good quality chicken stock, or if you want to keep this completely vegetarian, by all means, just use vegetable stock. And if you don't have either, you can totally make this with water. And the star ingredient, 1 package of Boursin cheese. I use this in so many recipes, and it's always that sort of when people ask what that special ingredient is in some recipes, it's this. Very classic French soft cheese. This one is the herb one, so there's basil and parsley and garlic and chive and shallots in there. It's all you need. It saves the step of having to add butter and cream and fresh herbs, which is what I would typically do in my classic pea soup recipe. This is a good little cheater. So let's bring this together. The whole thing takes less than 25 minutes. I've got a big Dutch oven here, but you can use any soup pot, and a couple tablespoons of oil, not too much. And note that I am starting my oil in a cold pan, and I'm going to add my diced shallot to the room temperature oil and bring these up to heat together. I want to avoid scorching the shallot in the oil, but also I want the flavor of the shallot to penetrate the oil slowly, have them come up to temperature slowly, so that all of the moisture, which is a lot of the flavor in the shallot, doesn't evaporate out at a high temperature. So to cut the onion, or the shallot in this case, you can do whatever dice you want, because we're going to puree all of this. So just take your chopped shallot into the oil. I'm going to season this with a little bit of salt and pepper. Salt will be dependent on how salty your stock is that you're using, or your broth. Medium heat, just 2 or 3 minutes, just to soften the onions a bit. The shallot has softened, just 3 or 4 minutes. And then I'm going to go right in with our frozen sweet peas. And then, believe it or not, we're putting all the rest of the ingredients in here at the same time. So the Boursin right in. And then our very collagen-rich bone broth. And then all that's left is 1 liter of water. We'll add into this. Back on to the flame. Again, just a medium-high flame. This is going to cook for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to puree it, and it's done. This has been cooking for just about 20 minutes, just on a low simmer. Now you can use a food processor. That would be my least favorite option here though. A blender, which is my favorite option, or you can go in between and use an immersion blender if you have it. And we're just going to puree this. You can keep it as coarse as you want, or you can puree it a little longer and get a little smoother. And if you want to go one step farther after it's pureed, you can put it through a chinoise or a medium mesh sieve, and you can take out all of the skins of the peas, but I like that texture, so I'm going to leave them in. So I'm going to use my blender and just do this half at a time. Don't fill the entire blender up, because as it blends, it's going to rise up to the top, and you don't want to blow the lid off or potentially burn your hand. So just about half in to start. All right, onto the blender mount. Just start on low. Don't throw it on full whack because it's just going to come up on you. Remember, it's hot liquid. It can be dangerous. And smells amazing. And the color is gorgeous. Look at that color. All right, I'm going to transfer this into a temporary bowl, put the other half in, and blend that as well. I'm just going to put this back into our Dutch oven, our soup pot. And like I said, you can serve this hot just like this, room temperature, or even ice cold from the fridge, which would be perfect on like a hot summer day. Ice cold, a little bit of creme fraiche or Greek yogurt up on top. And to serve this, you can of course forego any garnishes you like, but I'll show you a few options here. A couple nice ladlefuls. The color of this alone would make anybody happy. Green is my favorite color. Some suggestions for garnish. I would go with a little bit of finely chopped chive and just a nice fine chop. And instead of just sprinkling them all over the top, sort of just do a little semicircle of chives around. And if you want to be extra fancy, you can take one of your chives and just tie it in a little lover's knot, like so. And you can put that on the side if you want. And then I've got some of this micro mint that I grow in the greenhouse. Mint and peas, of course, are naturally very good friends. So you could put a few little sprigs of that on top. And then this is a little bit extra, but I just happen to have some basil oil kicking around for another recipe that I was doing. So you could just do a few drips of this around. And that is a beautiful bowl of springtime soup. Perfect for spring, summer, really great idea for Mother's Day. All right, let's give this a try. It's so good. You saw how easy it was to make. You're relying on the flavor of the peas, obviously. The herbs that come through on that boursin are just the right amount. It's perfect. A little piece of baguette in there. Make this. It's so easy.